Hi guys, I'm Katharyne Shelton and I wanted to make a video that is the ultimate guide to Amazon's search algorithm. Yay! Okay, so there are a lot of YouTube videos, blog posts, information, forum posts that all have titles like how to optimize your listings on Amazon, how to pick the right keywords, how to get the first page, how to rank #1 for your product. And there's a lot of information. There's also a lot of misinformation out there. So what I'm hoping to do here is to show you information that's actually tested, white hat, in line with Amazon's policies and drawing specifically from Amazon's policies. And I want to show you the right way to do keywords that work. We've had a lot of success with them. I've been selling on Amazon for about 4 years myself, and I've taught a lot of people to sell bundles, white label products, create awesome listings, and people have done really well with them. So I want to share with you all those tips, tricks, ideas, and look at some of the different theories out there about keywords and how they really work. First of all, let's take a look at Amazon's home page. So I'm not actually logged in. This is just what you see if you don't have an account or you're not logged in on Amazon. And one of the first ways people look for products is they browse. They just take a look at which pictures are coming up, which products are being recommended, MP3 players, video games, really popular products, and they browse either from the pictures there, or they go here into department search. So if I wanted like a yard decoration, I might go down to home, garden tools, patio, lawn and garden. I click there, and I can either browse from the pictures, the images, or by dropping down through these browse nodes at the side. So I can do that. I click, maybe I want to look at hydroponics, and what you'll see is Amazon shows me products that they think that I would like to buy. And some of these are the #1 bestseller in their category, not all of them, which is interesting. So, for example, this Jiffy starter kit isn't a #1 bestseller in its category, but it still shows me that. Now, the key thing here is Amazon is showing me products that it thinks that I, as a buyer, am most likely to purchase. And this could be based off a lot of factors. Firstly, yes, it's going to base it on the actual product itself. How well that product's doing, how many people are buying that product, the reviews on that product, whether there's a lot of action going on that product, questions being answered. But also, it's very possible that they could be drawing information from me, the buyer. If I was logged in, it's possible they may look at my past buys, my past history of what I buy on Amazon. It's possible they may look at my location and where I am compared to which warehouses have products in stock, or what people in my location are buying. It's also possible they may look at how I've ranked products before, and lots of other factors that we don't even know. So what a person sees here, what a buyer actually sees being suggested, is very subjective. So I know there are a lot of products that say, or a lot of apps that say we can show you how your product is ranking for certain keywords. I'm a little bit hesitant to recommend that because there's all this missing factor going on. There's the missing factor of me, the buyer, and how much Amazon know about me, the buyer, and how much of that is going into the algorithm of what's being shown on the screen. So I'm not going to go deep into looking at keyword tools that rank for particular keywords. So for example, if I type in, let's say I go to all departments and I type yard decorations, there are tools that will show you, if you have a product here, at what number you rank in these search results. And I do think they're missing out that portion about looking at the buyer, what Amazon are looking at about the buyer. So I'm not going to go deep into that. What I am going to show you is this. And this help file, it's kind of like the Rosetta Stone to Amazon keywords. And here's the thing. I believe this help file was updated around Q3 2015. And this is where a lot of confusion about what works as a keyword comes from. Here's where it gets interesting. This particular help file tells you how to optimize your listing to make sure buyers find them. And first of all, it goes into great detail about the title. It says each individual word in the product name or title is searchable on its own. And it gives you all of these words, very descriptive words in the title. Laura Ashley Sophia Collection 300 thread count pillowcases, Blue Queen set of 2, says this is much better than blue pillowcases. This is because the recommended product name above includes all this information. So they're telling us that they value the title very, very highly. Now this gets a little bit confusing because in other portions of Amazon's help files, they actually do put some limits on the length of your title. And they have closed listings that have these really crazy long, super spammy titles. So it seems that the key thing to do with your title is to make it very descriptive, but make it very, very economical. Every word in your title should count as much as possible, and really think about keywords when you make your title. Don't repeat any words. Just use every word once. This is really, really important. Use your space very wisely and put in great information. So that's the first thing we see here. Now, where it gets really interesting here, if we go down a little bit, it says Amazon provides sellers with an opportunity to include additional product-related keywords in fields such as search terms, subject keywords, style keywords. So we know that this is when you create a listing on Amazon, there are fields for keywords, and I'll show you those in a moment. But look at this line here. Information provided in the product description and bullet points is searchable by customers. This is new information. If we go back to early 2015, 2014, there were help files that said that bullet points and descriptions were not indexed. Now we are learning that bullet points, descriptions, title, and keywords are all being indexed. So there are 4 areas where you can put keywords and Amazon will index them. Title, bullet points, description, and the additional keywords. Which means that all of the keywords in those areas are something that if a customer types yard decoration butterfly, Amazon's search algorithm will look through all of those 4 areas to see if those words come up. I've also noticed that brand and category play a big part in this as well. So it's very important that you correctly put your product in the right category and that you use brand and you make sure the brand is correct in your product. So of course you can spend some time reading this page at your leisure. It's under Optimize Listings for Search and Browse, but it goes into a lot more detail that is really, really helpful for creating keywords and putting keywords into your listing. So one big thing I want to shout out here, because I've seen this in a lot of courses and blog posts, people say, well, use your competitor's name. If you're selling like your own branded coffee, then make sure you put Starbucks in the keyword field. Don't do this. They very specifically say don't provide inaccurate, misleading, or irrelevant information such as competitor product, brand, author name, wrong gender, etc. Providing misleading or irrelevant information is against Amazon policy. Your listing will be removed and your account will be suspended. And moreover, your product might end up wrongly in the wrong browse node and your sales might get affected. So don't do anything naughty with your keywords. It actually gives an example down here. And it says, for example, if you're selling Nike running shoes, do not put in Adidas and Puma. These keywords are inaccurate. And it has a sort of do's and don'ts here of what you can say, what you can't say. Some are simple, like don't duplicate. information. So if you have information in your title, don't repeat that in your keywords. Don't put in anything irrelevant. Like, don't sort of put in like random popular words just because you think they're popular searches. Avoid anything like amazing, trendy, fashionable, bestseller. Anything that's temporary or subjective is probably better off avoided. The only thing that I have found is that, particularly with things like children's clothes or toys or teddy bears, I have sometimes found that words like cute can be something that people search for, like they might say cute teddy bear or cute Easter bunny. So I don't know if this is 100% something I would agree with here. They just say that basically avoid subjective claims, as most customers don't use subjective terms in their queries. So this isn't like a policy violation, this is something they're just saying isn't very effective. I would kind of argue with this and say that in some cases I have found that can be effective, but the official line is stay away from anything subjective. Sometimes subjective and descriptive are kind of very difficult to distinguish. Like, is cute subjective or is it descriptive? Kind of up for you to decide that. And this is something I actually think is very, very important with keywords. I think a lot of it comes down to having a good instinct for what buyers are searching for. And this is like the number one thing with keywords. Put yourself in the shoes of a buyer. You're looking for the product that you have. It's like Jeopardy. You know, in Jeopardy, you start with the answer and you have to figure out what the question is. Customer searches are Jeopardy. You have the answer. The answer is your product. What is the question? So you have to put yourself in the mind of your customer when you're coming up with keywords. What are they searching for? And then Amazon actually gives you some examples of good keywords. And these are really fascinating actually, because look at this. Lord of the Rings is a product. So what they suggest is you use LOTR, you use the abbreviations. I would go along with this and say any kind of maybe fan words or sort of slangy, jargony words, I would throw in there. So things like acronyms, abbreviations, under acceptable keywords. Another thing that's really interesting, it uses the example of Harry Potter, and it says acceptable keywords would be Hermione Granger, Ron Weasley. So if you're selling like a character product, then you could absolutely consider using the various characters from that show or that book. That's a great tip actually, and something that I think goes overlooked a lot. If you were selling like a Ninja Turtle lunchbox, then put the names of the Ninja Turtles, because a lot of people will search just for one particular character. Put the topic of the product. So it has a book here, The Shadow Beast, An Adventure in Time, and it tells you put the topic of the product in your keywords. So these are all really useful tips. Just figuring out the difference between unacceptable keywords and acceptable helpful keywords. So where do you put this information? So this page is where all the magic happens when you create a listing on Amazon. When you say add a product, this is where you end up. And this first field is what we were talking about with the title or the product name. So let's say I was going to list my mug on Amazon. It's actually already in the catalogue. Don't make a listing for something that already exists. But we'll pretend I'm listing it for the first time. So what I would do, I'll use the brand because that's kind of important here. And I'll say it's a blue Siren coffee mug, 10 fluid ounces, collectible, limited edition, which I think is all accurate information. It fills out the size of the product, the basic colour, the basic information about that product, and I think it follows this example in product name title here. So it has the brand, it has the colour, it has the size, and it pretty much covers all the relevant information. So we put that in there. And this is a little bit different from how people have done titles in the past. Amazon have really clarified a lot of things and given more information than they ever have done before. So then I would go on to fill out manufacturer, all the other fields in here, blue, the size of the product, the brand name, you put your UPC in there for the product, and so on. Variations is actually if you have variations of a product. That is, if I had this mug in different sizes or different colours, having those listed as variations rather than separate listings can actually really help your product sales, because it links multiple products together and they all kind of grow together. So that is a really good thing to do. But I'm going to skip through all the other things and go to description. So bullet points, they are now calling key product features. Amazon are really putting the emphasis on features of your product. And I would go in depth with this. They give you some guidance, max 100 characters per line. Use these to highlight some of the product's most important qualities. So fill these out. They are searchable, so I would use them as best you can to be persuasive about the product and to highlight its most important features. So again, I would say this is a 10-ounce cup. I would put that in. I would address the design of it and say it has like a gold color foil design, or it's textured. I would look at what it's made of. It's a ceramic cup. Like, I would cover all of those things in bullet points. Your description should be persuasive. People are going to see your description, but also it should have keywords interspersed in there that you feel are important. Technically, you should not need to repeat keywords more than once. If you use a keyword in the title or in the keywords or in the bullet points, you shouldn't need to keep stuffing that in there. Just once is enough. So all of this now is searchable. And that wasn't necessarily the case. It seems that the help files that say this is searchable only appeared around Q3 2015. So you might find information from before then that says, no, these are not searchable. Now we are being told by Amazon that they are. So good to know, really good to know. And actually you can test that for yourself by running searches within your store on these particular fields and seeing whether you can find your own products. Okay, so this is where the really exciting magic happens. This is the keywords screen in creating a listing. So first of all, disregard platinum keywords. You have to be a platinum merchant to use that. I think you have to make millions of dollars a year and possibly sacrifice a goat. No, you don't need to sacrifice a goat, I'm joking. But you do need to be a platinum merchant, which probably most people watching this aren't. You will know if you are one. So we'll disregard that and we'll move straight into search terms. And search terms has changed. You now have really, really long spaces to put your search terms. You can go up to 1,000 characters in here, which is just craziness. You can put all this information in here. So first of all, put your really valuable information in the title, in the bullet points. Use your search terms for any additional information that you don't necessarily want to show up to customers. So I don't know, if we look at this Starbucks mug, we could put in a lot of information about how you could use it for tea, coffee, or we could put teacup, coffee mug, and catch all of those searches as well. So for example, we probably wouldn't put teacup in the description or in the bullet points, but if someone was searching for a Starbucks teacup, this would actually be a pretty good size for teacup. So you can put alternative uses in here. Just make sure everything you put is really relevant to your product. I mean, some people might say this looks kind of bronze colored, so you could put bronzed or bronze, like words that aren't necessarily specifically about the cup, but that form an association with it and that make sense, that are keywords that make sense. And this is the big thing to bear in mind. Amazon wants people to buy your product. They're matchmaking between customers and products. And there's one theory that Amazon have a thing called bounce rate. And what that is they're looking at every person that looks at your listing and how many of those people actually go on to buy your product, and how many of them bounce away from it. And they might even be measuring how long people spend looking at your product, looking at your listing and reading through your listing. So what I would suggest is if you use very inaccurate words here, it could actually harm your listing. It could actually cause you some problems. If you use words that are irrelevant or inaccurate, that could actually cause customers to look at your listing and say, oh no, I don't like this, or oh, it's not for me, or it's misrepresented, and click away from it. And that could harm your visibility. So it's really important to use words that are relevant, that make sense, and that customers may well be searching for. And I am a big fan of using instinct to figure out search terms and experience. While I do tend to just use my instinct mostly for coming up with keywords, there are a few tools that I do use. I use my own tool, Skywords, which is in Blue Sky Suite. You can go into it and look up something like coffee cup. We run a search for it, and it comes up with some suggestions, and they're basically just suggestions. They're color-coded by how popular they are likely to be. Coffee cup inspirations gives you product-based ideas. It's looking at marketplaces and what's popular on various marketplaces. Hot searches is picking up more on trends in general. So I would look through these, see if I can spot anything that's particularly relevant, any keywords that I think are particularly useful. Coffee cup is kind of a simple search, but there may be a few there that are kind of interesting. I saw that, oh, coffee cup unique, that's kind of an interesting one. I didn't think of the word unique. That might be, if people are looking for unique, that might be a good word to throw in there. There's a few other. Coffee cup USA, I don't think that's totally relevant. But you can see you might get some ideas here, like coffee cup glass, coffee cup ring, coffee cup set. Now you can see that's actually a really popular search. So that might make me think about putting together cups into a set and actually selling them that way if people are looking for particular sets of coffee cups. So that's how I would use Skywords. It can be a really awesome tool for both coming up with ideas for products and for actually looking for any particular keywords you've missed. We can go a little bit deeper with it, show more, and you can see it really gets quite deep with this, like coffee cup office, coffee cup outdoors. You can really see if there's anything there that you particularly like to add to your listing. I like, oh, Turkish coffee, that sounds really good and strong. Okay, so going back to my add a product, and I can add some of these words I found there and so on. You can put any search terms that you think are relevant in here. I used to say don't use commas, don't commas separate them. I think now the space isn't so limited, so I would just go ahead and use them. I have some methods for looking at a product and deciding on keywords and making sure I've covered all the keywords for thinking like a buyer. First thing I say, use all your senses. Use all your senses, your sight, your smell, taste, and really evaluate the product. What color is it? What's it look like? Touch it. What's it made of? Is it lightweight? Is it a really sturdy mug? Just really go through all of those things. Touch it, feel it, taste it. Maybe don't eat your coffee mug. Use your senses to really figure out what this mug is about. Make sure you cover all the features. Read all the information. I don't want to drip my coffee on myself, but read all the information on it. Make sure you have everything covered that is relevant to your product. Another great way of coming up with keywords, use all the question words. Who is it for? What are they going to use it for? Why are they going to buy it? Like, go through all of these. How are they going to use it? And this, if you actually go through those questions, that will help you answer all these things as well. So if you say who's going to use it, target audience, I don't know, you can put anything in here. You can, like, it gives you a lot of suggestions. You can say seniors, you can say moms, you can say parents. Like, you can really add to this. They give you some very random suggestions at the bottom. Teens, toddlers, cats. They give you some suggestions when you click, but you'll see, whoops, cats is not on that list. So you can feel free to add anything you like here. I like to put in things like occupations, I like to put things like cultural background. I mean, for example, if you're selling kosher food, then you might want to put like Jewish. If you're selling a certain like Mexican food, you might want to put Hispanic in there. It's not really a place for political correctness. It's like a place for putting who you really think would like to buy this product. So use those question words: who, what, where, why, how, and those will really help you fill out target audience, subject matter. What is it about? When would you use this? This is where you can say, okay, winter is good for coffee cups. It's a Christmas mug. It actually came out for Christmas. You could use it in the kitchen. You can use it indoors. You could use it for tea. You can use it for, I don't know, coffee time. Like that's... In England, we call it elevenses, but I don't think many Americans are going to be searching for elevenses. That's when we drink coffee in England. But you can really kind of think about this coffee break. You could put, I love how it always comes up with digital video recorders. It's so random. Winter, autumn, Father's Day, Mother's Day, digital video recorders. Okay, Amazon, thank you for that. Other attributes, that's kind of a tricky one. I feel that other attributes is already covered in pretty much all the other fields, but it gives you these very random suggestions. Antique, cordless, waterproof. So you can do with that what you want. And then intended use is fairly easy. You can just go in here and say, okay, use the suggestions it gives you. Indoor, outdoor, home, kitchen, parties, dinner. All of those kind of words are pretty useful. They're aircraft. You can use it on an aircraft. Kind of random. And that's where you fill in all your keywords. Another tool, I'm going to show you a free tool that I think is awesome, and it's Uber Suggest. And I'm going to show you a trick here. So let's say we have coffee and we go back to Amazon and we do a search for coffee on Amazon. This actually tells you some of the most popular searches. Like this already gives you a hint as to what people are looking for. Coffee mug, coffee cups. And you can actually go coffee C and it gives you all these words: creamer, carafe, container, canister. Suddenly we start getting all these cup words. Boom! Like, this is really powerful. You can get all these suggested keywords from Amazon. I love this trick. And you can do it with anything. I mean, you can go, if you're trying to think of a product to sell around coffee, then just go coffee A, coffee B, coffee C, like see what comes up. And Uber Suggest kind of does this for you. So if we do coffee with Uber Suggest, I usually recommend clicking shopping, select shopping from the drop down, and say suggest. And let's see what this is called ubersuggest.io, and it's free. It's a really nice free research tool. So we give it a moment to actually run, and there it is, it's at 100%. So you'll see that this actually does a very similar thing to Amazon's suggest feature. So you get some more ideas here of like coffee, and you see it comes up with the same searches there: creamer, carafe, cup holder. And I think you can actually, you can go and actually search for these in Google and Google Trends, which is a really helpful feature too. So I really like Uber Suggest because it's free and it works really, really well. Another tool I love is Google's Keyword Planner, which again is free. You do need to register for a Google AdWords account, which is free if you don't run any campaigns. It's actually a tool for advertisers. They want you to run advertising campaigns, but you don't have to use the tool. So what I tend to do with this is I would put in a keyword like coffee cup, and I could try a couple of different things. I could say like unique coffee cup, vintage coffee cup, and I can use my words from Blue Sky. So, like for example, if I just clicked some of these words from Blue Sky, I can actually go and get these. I can go to my save keywords, go to there, and I'm going to select some of those coffee words. I should have cleared my cache before I did this, but I can save my keywords from there. I can paste those right in here, and what we can do is say get search volume, and cool, Google AdWords actually gives me the average monthly searches on Google for all of those keywords, which is really useful and helpful. So you can see like coffee cup gets 40,000 searches a month on Google. Now, it's up to you kind of to decide how much Google searches correlate to Amazon searches, there isn't really a clear and easy way. Some people say that 3 times as many people search for products on Amazon as on Google. I think that number's a little bit inflated. I actually think that there are slightly less people searching on Amazon than on Google for various things. But you can check it out for yourself here and get actual Google keyword data. Now, on this topic, there is something I really want to talk about that I think is very, very serious. There are some apps that are very popular that do suggested keywords, kind of like Uber Suggest, which is awesome. Nothing wrong at all with coming up with suggested keywords. However, some of them are giving away search volume for those keywords. And I want to make it so clear right now that there is no way of actually getting the search volume for particular keywords. Like Amazon do not release that information. They do not tell you how many, Amazon don't tell you which words buyers are searching for, and they certainly don't tell you how many buyers are searching for a particular keyword. That information is just not available using Amazon's APIs, which are the protocols for talking to Amazon's code. That's what Amazon developers use, and that information is not accessible to them. So, for example, I've done some testing with these apps, and I'm going to show you an example. Here's a search I did for card games in one of the leading apps, and I'm not going to mention any names, I'm just going to say one of the leading keyword apps. I did a search for card games, and this was the results it gave me. Now, according to this app, 2.895 million users are searching for Roblox game card every month, and that is the most popular search for card games. So then Hearts apparently gets 135,000 monthly searches on Google. This is saying it gets more than 500,000 searches. You'll see the order that these are in just isn't really reflected in the order of these particular searches here. And it gets kind of crazy, really. When you look at Illuminati, 755,000 against 18,000. And if we go down to the bottom and look at some of these, there are searches here. Lord of the Rings card game, that only gets 20 searches a month on Google. But you'll see that this app is saying it gets 180,000 searches on Amazon. So I say, please do not be taken in by search volumes on some of these apps, because this is really misleading information. If you are going to actually decide what you're going to buy, what you're going to invest in, you're not going to really want to see 180,000 search volume when actually only 20 or 40 people are looking for your particular product. So be very, very careful with some of these apps that give you recommended search volume. Amazon do not release search volume. And you can test this for yourself. Run a search in an app that says it will give you search volume and test it against Google AdWords. And it's actually pretty helpful because some of the suggestions are good suggestions for keywords, and actually very similar to some of the words that come up in Skywords or come up in Uber Suggest. But these search volumes, just don't say no to search volumes. Use known data. Like, we know that Google's data, it may not be exactly the same as Amazon's, but at least it's a guide and we know it's a legitimate data source. Another thing I noticed with some of the suggested keywords coming up in apps, I'm going to take this search that I ran for Coca-Cola, and I noticed something really interesting with this. Look at this search. Coca-Cola iPhone 4 case. What's interesting about this? The iPhone 4 went out of production like 4 years ago. But let's take that search because I want to try something. And we'll take that to Google Trends. Have I got Google Trends open? Yes, I have. So we can take this over to Google Trends and we can run a search on that. And what we'll see, I think, look at this peak. This was in 2012. And there have been hardly any searches for it since 2013. And a lot of searches I ran very similar things happened. I found that a lot of this data seems to peak around 2012. So going back to my spreadsheet there, like the Coca-Cola Freestyle, it seems like that was when that was popular as well. So a little bit hesitant on using pretty much any apps with keywords. I strongly recommend using your knowledge, really studying a product and being as accurate, descriptive, and real about your product as you can be. Like, look at your product, associate with your product. What's it for? Why would you use it? Who's going to use it? Where will they use it? Answer those questions and you will probably get good keywords. So I'm going to leave you with that page. I think this is the most helpful thing I've seen Amazon put out about keywords, and I've been waiting for this for a really long time. It's right here. Go and find it. This is an awesome source of information, so go and check it out. You just have to do a search for optimized listings for search and browse and you will find it. It is the best piece of information that Amazon have given out on keywords and is so helpful. Study it, use it. Have fun and good luck making awesome products. If you enjoyed this video, please do go and check out blueskysweet.com. We have a whole course on how to create awesome products to sell on Amazon and on other platforms. It's full of information. It's over 15 hours of solid content covering white label, private label, bundles, everything you can think of, and even self-publishing and create space. It's all about how to market an awesome product. So do go and check that out. It's at blueskysweet.com and the course is called Create.